Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Barnabas Bot. In this video, what I want to do is I want to clean up my breadboard here. So if you look at my breadboard, I have two LEDs, three resistors, a button, and a bunch of wires. So the cool thing is that it works. If I press the button here, and I did this in the previous video, I programmed it so that when I press the button, these two lights turn on. When I let go, it turns off. And it's important that we learn how the breadboard works because it's a very important tool as an electrical engineer in robotics. But now that we've learned how it works, it's also important to clean it up so that it looks a lot neater and it doesn't fall apart as easy. Because right now with all these wires, you might just, if you move your hand over here, your finger, some wire might come out. So, but if you clean it up, it's gonna stay together a lot better, and it's also gonna look a lot better. So in order to do that, we need to take a look at the Barnabas Noggin. So we designed this noggin so that it actually has a lot of these connections built in, so that you don't need all these wires. So let's take a look. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect that, and then I'm just gonna remove these wires here so we can see better. Okay. Actually, I'm just going to take out all these wires. It's going to look a lot cleaner. That feels good, right? Okay. All these wires are going to move to the side. Okay. And so let's take a look. If you look at the noggin, I want you to bring your attention to these pins here. All right. There's like a two pin here. I'm going to bring this pen here so you can see. There's two pins here, and next to that there's a white writing that says LED 7. Okay, that's where an LED can go in. And then you have these few others that are spaced out. This one has white writing, says R1. That's for a resistor, R for resistor. And then here's another one, says R2 over there, and also this is for a resistor. And then this one says buzzer 6. This is for a buzzer, which we're gonna add in later. Okay, and so let's first use LED 7. All right, so LED stands for LED, light emitting diode. So what we're going to do is just take one of the lights, it doesn't matter which one. Okay, take one of these and let's look closely. If you look at the LED 7 writing, there's a plus on one side on one of these pins, and then minus next to the other pin. We gotta put it in the right way. The long one is plus, if you remember. Okay, so let's do that correctly. And the minus goes into the other one. There. All right, and then the R1 resistor. If you look closely at the white writing, it says 470 ohm. So that matches this resistor. Okay, 470 ohm. This one, it's gold, brown, purple, and yellow. And you can take this and stick it in. Now it's kind of hard to get to, so actually maybe we did it out of order. Let's take the light out. You should put the resistor in first. Okay, like that. And then we can put in our LED. Cool. Looks nice and clean, right? All right, so before we move on to the other ones, let's learn what's going on here. I also want you to notice, if you look at this noggin here, this is a PCB, or printed circuit board. And so what that means, it's circuits printed onto a board, literally. So if you look at the white, there's like these white little tracks here, kind of like subway or train tracks. These are actually wires built into the board, and they help make the wire connections that we did on the breadboard. So what wire connections are happening for these two? Let's take a look. I'm going to change to my whiteboard view. Okay, let's draw my noggin. Okay, so it says LED 7, so that's just something for us easy to remember. That's actually connected to nerve number 7. And then that's connected to the resistor, this one right here, the one that we plugged in, and that's labeled as R1. And then that goes to LED 7, okay? And then that, the minus of LED 7 goes to GND. Let's add a plus and a minus. Okay, so that's what's actually happening when we plug the light here and the resistor in. And that's going to be important because when we start coding or making sure our code still works, we're going to need to know the schematic here. Cool. So nice and clean. The R1 and LED 7 is in. Now let's add this other LED. Now here's the interesting thing that's going to happen here. We're just going to take the LED. Let me move it. Move the camera. We're just going to take the LED. We're going to take the long leg here and stick it into pin number 13. The long leg in the 13 and the short leg in the G and D, which is right next to it. Give you a closer view here. You see that? Long leg in the 13, short leg in the G and D, and then that's it. You don't even have to add a resistor. So you might be thinking, what's going on? I thought we needed resistors. You do, but there's actually a built-in resistor to number 13, which is kind of nice. So I'm just gonna, wherever we have room here, maybe right here. Okay, 13, nerve number 13 has a built-in resistor. Okay, and that is going to be connected to another LED, which we just added, which also connects to G and D. All right. And so once we put in the second light, where my finger is pointing on, now we have this full circuit built. Okay, one light controlled by nerve 7 and one light controlled by nerve number 13. So things are looking pretty clean, right? We got 2 lights and no wires, right? Because again, the wires or the circuits are being built by the printed circuit board in the Noggin. All right. Now, what about this button? Okay. What about this button? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do something similar. Actually, let me go back there. We're going to take the button, okay? And we're going to look at the printed circuit board, and we're going to say one side of the button I want to connect to, let's see here, what should we do? One side of the button, let's connect to 8, okay, and the other side connect to G and D, like this. You'll see there's this header right here. See that? Let me make sure you can see it. One side into 8, one side into G and D. And there you go. And you might be saying, well, okay, what's the deal here? I thought we needed this 10K resistor. So first, you don't need a resistor for this one. Now you don't need a resistor for this one. What's going on? Well, you could probably guess there's a built-in resistor as well. So let's see what's going on here. So now we're going super clean, super advanced. These are like secrets on the Noggin to make our lives easy. Okay. Now I'm going to use this side. Maybe over here. So we have pin 8. Alright, we have a button. One side we connected to G and D. I'll just draw another G and D over here. Okay, so that's what we did over here. And then the other side is connected to 8. Okay, which is connected to 8. Now before, remember what we did? We also had to have a pull-up resistor, which was 10K, and have that connect to 5V, so that when you don't press the button, it would pull the voltage up to 5V, which was high. So that's we learned about how that works. If you forget, you can look at the previous video. But we don't need that. You know why? Because there's actually a secret resistor inside the noggin over here. So there's a pull-up resistor built in to pin number 8, but it's only activated if you put a special code. And I'll show you how to do that. Alright, there we go. So check it out. We have our noggin here. Let me give you the big view here. We have our noggin here. We have 2 lights and a button, all connected in, but we only used 1 resistor. We don't even need these 2 because these 2 have been replaced with built-in resistors. Cool. Let me put this here. And let's see if we can code this thing to make sure that it works. Okay. I'm going to bring up my code now. Alright. So this is my code from before. Alright. So I use pin 2 was my button, and 7 and 8 were my LEDs. Now things have changed a little bit, right? If you remember, I use pin 8 now. Going back to my schematic, pin 8 is connected to my button now, and then I have 7 and 13 for my LEDs. So let's make sure we change that. Alright, so let's go back to my code. So it should be now 8 for the input, and then 7 is fine, but 13 for my 2 outputs or 2 LEDs. I'm going to put some notes here. LEDs, button. Okay. And now if I go down here, digital 2 equal low, that's for my button. It used to be 2, but now it's 8. So let's change that to 8. And then going down here, I'm trying to turn on both lights. It should be 7 and 13. And this is turning off both lights, 7 and 13. Alright, so I got my pins or nerves updated here. There's one more thing I need to change. Remember I said for the pin here, for the pin 8, there's a special resistor, a pull-up resistor for the button, but it's only activated if you put a secret code. So we have to do that. So we go back here. So when we go pin 8 for pin mode, for pin 8, we have to say input underscore pull-up. So that activates that special resistor inside so that you don't have to add the external pull-up resistor. Alright, I think it should work, or hopefully. Let's upload this and see what happens here, okay? Okay. Okay, ignore that pink light for now. Alright. Okay, I uploaded. Here's my button here. Let's press it and hopefully both lights turn on. It works. And just for fun, let's add code here to make it blink when I press the button. So we had it when I press down, 8 is going to be low. Okay, when I press the button, 8 is going to be low. So let's write blinky code here. So it's going to be both of them high. I'm going to delay, let's say 500, half a second. Then I'm going to set them both low. And then delay half a second too. So I'm going to be on for half a second, off for half a second whenever I press the button. This should work. Let's see. It is working. Okay, and just for fun, let's go faster. Let's do 50 milliseconds. So it's 50 milliseconds on, 50 milliseconds off. That's cool. It is working. All right. And I think one of the challenges I did was I want you to go interleave it, meaning like one off, the other one on, one off, the other one on, the other one off, right? So how do we alternate for the lights? Well, let's see. So we press it. Let's say okay, I'm gonna make some spaces here. I'm just gonna delete this. It gets confusing. Okay, so when I press the button, I want 7 to turn on, and then 13 to be off. Then I'm gonna wait, I don't know, 500, let's say, 500 milliseconds. And then I want to flip it. Turn 7 off and 13 high. Okay. And then I'm gonna also wait 500. So I believe that should work. Okay, so if I press the button, 7 turns on, 13 is off. I wait 500 milliseconds. Then I flip it. 7 is low, 13 is on. Wait 500. All right, I think that should work. Yeah, alternating lights. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. The main thing here was I wanted to show you that you could clean up all your wires and end up with something as clean as this, but you still have a button and 2 lights going. After this, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a buzzer, and then we have motors, and we still have another sensor to play with as well. But I want to first, before we do that, I wanted to first show you how to clean up the board. I don't know about you, I think this looks pretty slick. I'm happy that I got all those wires out of the way. So now we have room to add more stuff to this. Okay, that's it for now. Take it easy. If you have any questions, feel free to always reach out. All right, bye-bye.